I took a loan of 8,000 rupees from the bank, and that was my money which I started. If a woman was working, it was considered an indulgence.
Right.
कि उसकी तो hobby है, शौक से कर रही है, that kind of, it wasn't given that seriousness. For a man, his career, he devotes all his time to his work or career. For a woman, it's career plus household plus family plus other things. So there is a huge amount of multitasking. My business was large enough for me not to just shut it down.
Correct.
And I felt now, having worked so hard, bringing it to a certain point, why should I shut it down? I'll continue living in Bombay. My granddaughter especially, she feels very proud of me, and she's always talking to her friends that look at my dadi, she's still doing this, she's still doing that. Especially when my book came out. While I don't know how many men will make the effort to be socially present for their wives, whatever she's doing.
Right.
You
Right.
know? So that way, yes, it's a slightly unfair world.
Hello, Meena Auntie, and welcome to the About Her Show, a show where we get trailblazing women to share the story of their lives with us. To tell us about their successes, failures, ups and downs, all of it, so that not only do they get to talk about themselves, but they also help us inspire other women. Women who are listening in, who have dreams, ambitions, but for some reason are not able to follow those dreams. And then we also get men on the show, men who champion such women, because we believe that for a truly gender inclusive world, men and women need to be allies in this journey. Now, having you on the show, of course, is incredibly special. I mean, I've known you as Meena Auntie, as Sid's mom, but of course, to the world, you are the powerhouse behind Biba, the brand that revolutionized Indian ethnic wear, making it more accessible, stylish, and of course, timeless. So, today we are here to talk about the journey of your life. What made you start your business at age 39? How you built it up over a period of time, what difference has it made with Sid joining in, and of course, your future plans, and many, many more things which I've not been able to cover here. So, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Sangeeta, for inviting me for this podcast. It's very special for me since I've known you for so long. Thank you.
I think likewise, it goes for both of us. Okay. So I'll just start the conversation. Now, before Biba became a household name, we want to know who was Meena Bindra as a woman and what shaped you the most in your early years.
Well, I was a graduate from Delhi University and I was a housewife for 19 years. I married a naval officer and led a service officer's typical life, know. And I had two sons. So when they were little grown up, I had a lot of time on my hands.
Right.
So I was not fond of playing cards or mahjong or these other activities, which most of the women those days were indulging in their free time. And I needed money badly because both my sons were in a boarding.
Yeah.
So the expenses were high. My husband's income was limited. He was in the government. Government salaries were not that generous.
Right.
So I felt the need to keep myself busy with something constructive and to earn money. So that was my main motivation when I started. And also I wanted to start from the house because a job was out of question. I was only a graduate. I hadn't worked. So, and there weren't very many jobs available those days. I'm talking of 81.
Right.
So, the economy hadn't been liberated. And so there weren't very many private industries. The job market for women was either you become a teacher or you become a sales girl or you become a secretary. So these were very few managerial jobs women did those days. So I thought I'll start something for the house. So that's how I started.
Okay. So, of course, you started your entrepreneurial journey at the age of 39, which, like we know. But how did your age and gender play into your confidence at that time? I mean, the fact that you were 39, the fact that you were a woman, I mean, did that in any way, hold you back or tried to hold you back?
Well, the fact that I was a woman didn't hold me back
Okay.
at all.
Hmm.
I mean, except that one hand, multiple responsibilities. If you're working, you're running a business, but the household falls on you only. The
Right.
husbands didn't really pitch in.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the household, the looking after the children, all that was primarily my job.
Yeah.
So I was taking on extra responsibilities. So that was the only internal challenge. But there was no external challenge for me being a woman. In fact, I think it helped. People were quite helpful, and I was older also. So when I was meeting younger people, they were quite respectful.
Hmm. Hmm.
I didn't feel any challenge
But you don't.
being a woman.
But you don't think age had anything to do with it? You didn't feel that at how can I start at 39?
No, I didn't, because I wasn't thinking of starting a large company. I just wanted to earn a few extra pocket money.
Ah, right.
So I felt I'll do something small from the house. I'm there when my son comes from school
Hmm.
to be there. And maybe I'll earn a little extra money, which will help in our budget.
Okay.
That's what was the motivation. So there weren't very grand plans for me to be nervous about.
Okay. All right. So, as I read in your book, I mean, at one point you were living in Mumbai for your work while your husband was based out of Vishakhapatnam, which was an unconventional choice at that time. And, believe me, it is still unconventional. I have been through this with my husband, living in Hong Kong and I living here, still facing a lot of questions and, stigmas and all that. So, how did this phase shape your sense of independence?
Well, by the time my husband moved out of Bombay, I was quite well established
Okay.
because we stayed in the government accommodation for 5 years
Hmm.
after I started my work.
Okay.
So I knew that I'll have to leave this accommodation. So
Hmm.
I bought my own apartment with my self-earned money in about 6 years' time
Okay.
on at Bombay Seaface, because I felt I need a foothold in Bombay. Once he's transferred, we'll have to leave this accommodation.
Right.
So I fortunately had this apartment,
Hmm.
so I could continue my work.
Hmm.
So yeah, then my business was large enough for me not to just shut it down.
Correct.
And I felt now, having worked so hard, bringing it to a certain point,
Hmm.
why should I shut it down? I'll continue living in Bombay.
Hmm.
And for my sons also, Bombay was their home.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they would come from school to Bombay. All
Hmm.
their friends were in Bombay. So Bombay remained my main house. And it was my husband who was moving around.
Hmm. 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 Okay.
So I didn't really feel that. But yeah, people around me maybe had a lot of questions,
Hmm.
question marks.
Hmm.
What is wrong? There must be something wrong. Why she's living alone? Why she's staying in Bombay? And also, as you might know from your experience,
Hmm.
if a woman was working,
Hmm.
it was considered an indulgence.
Right.
कि उसकी तो हॉबी है, शौक से कर रही है. You
Hmm.
know, that kind of, it wasn't given that seriousness.
Correct.
Which
Correct.
nowadays, of course, women are all over the place. All kind of careers are available to them.
Hmm.
But in my time, which was like a long time back, it was, nobody said it on my face.
Hmm.
But yeah, I heard a lot of things, but I ignored them all.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
I was too busy to pay attention.
So it did give you a sense of independence also that you are doing everything on your own, right?
Yes, of course.
Hmm.
Of course. And your family also perceives you differently.
Yeah.
I think for working women, I felt that
Hmm.
there's more respect, from the husband, from the children, kind of, if you're working, if you're independent, they view you. with more respect.
Yeah, that's right. So, continuing in the same vein, what advice would you give to women who hesitate to take financial or personal risks, especially after a certain age?
Well, to be frank, Sangeeta, I didn't take such a big risk. I
Oh,
took a loan of 8,000 rupees from
hmm,
the bank,
hmm,
and that was my money which I started. And I felt, yeah, let's see how it works out. If it doesn't work out, I lose 8,000, which still was a large amount for me
yeah,
to lose.
hmm,
But still, it wasn't like a very big risk.
right.
And my vision wasn't like so great. I just wanted to earn some extra money,
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
you
Okay.
know. So I thought something small. And since I had already done 2, 3 exhibitions earlier,
Hmm, hmm,
just for fun,
hmm,
which worked out very well, I thought I should do something with garments. And
right.
I felt that I could design. I hadn't tried it, but I somehow felt that I could design clothes. So
Hmm,
I'll start, and it didn't require much money. I
hmm,
needed to buy some fabric and have a tailor and make a few suits ready
hmm,
and then sell them. So
right.
that's how the whole, the idea came into my mind.
Hmm. So that means, like, if you know what you want to do, if you have a purpose, and if you know that, yes, I do have a talent for something, then it is well worth, the effort, of taking that risk. Maybe start at a slow, low level, but then take the risk nonetheless, because till the time you don't, you won't know whether you can do something or not, right?
Yes, of course, I feel all women,
Hmm.
young or old, they all have the potential,
Yeah.
which they don't realize.
Hmm.
And they should not let their own self doubts, take them a back step. They should go all out, try and do whatever they think they are good at,
Hmm.
and I'm sure they'll succeed
Yes.
because women have a great tenacity
Yeah.
and resilience.
Hmm. Hmm.
So these two qualities women are have in plenty
Yes.
because we do multitasking, we are resilient, we
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
bouncing back. So I think all women, whether they are old or young, should try whatever they feel like doing.
True. True. So then, of course, like you said, you started the business, and of course, there must have been challenges that you faced, along the way. So, what were some silent or unseen battles you fought as a woman entrepreneur that your male counterparts may not even be aware of?
Well, multitasking for sure.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Male colleagues are not bothered about what is cooking at home, how are the children managing their homework, their studies. Manage. I had 2 teenage boys
Right.
as they grew up.
Hmm,
So it fell on me. My
hmm,
husband was hardly ever there.
hmm.
So these were my challenges. It was less external. It was more internal challenges.
Right.
So for a man, his career, he devotes all his time to his work or career.
Hmm, hmm.
For a woman, it's career plus household plus family plus other things. So
True.
there is a huge amount of multitasking.
Right.
And socially also, if my husband had any functions, he was chairman of a big company. So I had to be present for all those functions. So I was continuously flying down Bombay to Vizag.
Hmm,
He was chairman of a shipbuilding company.
hmm,
So there were a lot of ship launches happening.
hmm.
So socially also I had to be present.
Right. Right.
While I don't know how many men will make the effort to be socially present for their wives, uh, whatever she's doing,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Hmm.
So that way, yes, it's a slightly unfair word.
Yes. Very true. Quite unfair. So, you built the brand, and of course, like you said, initially you didn't know how big it was going to become. I mean, you didn't even, in that sense, try for that. You just wanted to do something to earn some extra money. But then, of course, over a period of time, it did, and it is a very big brand now. So, in what ways do you think building Biba empowered not only you, but the women around you as well, like your team, your customers, even your family?
Well, I think at least that my lot of my colleagues at Biba, especially the women,
Mm.
they keep saying, ma'am, you really inspire us.
Mm.
Look at your age also, you are still so passionate about designing
Mm.
and you're still coming to office. So they keep saying, I hope I'm inspiring them.
I'm
And
sure.
even my family,
Mm.
my granddaughter especially,
Mm.
she feels very proud of me and she's always talking to her friends that look at my dadi, she's still doing this, she's still doing that.
Mm.
Especially when my book came out,
Mm.
she was very proud of the fact that I'd written a book, and
Yeah.
especially at this age.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, I think indirectly people do get inspired. I'm sure. I hope so. I
They,
hope I'm the cause for them to start something on their own.
I'm
I
sure.
keep them. You can also do it. You
Yes,
know.
I agree. I agree. Like I was there at the book launch and I could see the pride in her voice, as she was talking about you and even, on stage and even otherwise. So, yes, hugely inspirational, not only for her, but I think every woman who comes across your story. So, Auntie, Biba, of course, began as your dream. But today, Siddharth, is also a part of it and he is carrying it forward. So, what was it like emotionally, to pass on, the legacy of, the entire thing to him? And of course, he was still a part of it, but then now he's also a very, very integral part of it. So, how was it like, or how is it like?
When initially Siddharth said that he wants to join Biba, I was dead against it
Hmm.
because I already had one son
Yeah.
in Biba working with me. And
Hmm.
I said, now I don't want both of them to become part of Biba. And he was a very bright boy.
Hmm.
So for me, I felt, what is this business he's going to do? He might as well go abroad, study, and make his own career.
Hmm.
So I was very much against it.
Hmm.
But he insisted that no, he can grow it into a very big brand. He somehow at that point also had the vision
Yeah.
that this business has the potential and it can be managed. If managed well, it can be grown into a very big enterprise.
Hmm. Hmm.
Finally, he managed to sneak it, and I'm glad he came.
Hmm.
And yes, leaving the control to him was no problem at all,
Okay.
which I think most of the men would find it very difficult to just pass it on.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I felt he's young, let him make mistakes, let him learn. So
Yeah.
I never interfered in his, I gave him a lot of a long rope
Okay.
to try out his ideas, to do whatever he wanted to.
Okay.
I was quite relieved that I'm shedding part of my responsibilities.
Yes, actually, I mean, you have to give them that opportunity. And even if you fail, it's okay because till the time you don't try, you don't get to know. So you did it yourself. So
Yeah.
you that as well. If he had the vision, you had the confidence in him that, he would be able to
Yes, I
take it
he
forward.
was he was very logical
Hmm.
and he was very driven, focused.
Right,
So
right,
I knew that he's going to do something good,
right, right, right. And which he has, of course.
which he has. Yes,
So tell me,
it's
Auntie.
his efforts actually, because I brought it to a certain level, but this next 2 3 levels was all Siddharth's doing.
Yes, yes, yes. That
His
is the.
vision, his managerial skills,
Hmm.
his way to look ahead.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah,
so I must give full credit to Siddharth.
definitely, definitely. So, Auntie, do you think a son continuing a mother's legacy is still a rarity in India? And what does it say about the shifting gender roles?
Well, I think it's not as common as a son joining the father's business
Right.
because maybe there are lesser women entrepreneurs. Now, of course, there are many, many more. But at my time, when I started, there weren't many.
Hmm.
Even in the 90s, even in the early 2000s, even when the economy was kind of opened up, but it took time for private businesses to make a name to, it took a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I think there weren't very many women entrepreneurs.
Right. Right.
So that way, yeah, a son joining a father's business has been happening for years.
Hmm.
So it's understood that he joined the business.
Hmm.
So I hope that answers your question.
It does because it's see, first of all, like you said, there weren't too many women earlier who had a business which a
Yeah.
son could join. So I think your starting point is itself, bringing that
So
difference.
was it?
Yes, it was your business, and then he joined it, so.
He joined it. Yeah, and he grew it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, yes, it does speak volumes about the changing gender roles and where women are, becoming entities where they can do this kind of a thing and offer a business to their children, son or daughter,
Hmm.
whatever it may be. All
Yeah.
right. So, of course, we've been talking about how, of course, the economy was not liberalized at that time. There were not too many opportunities available for women to do a business than,
Yeah.
the jobs that were existing. So, if you look at the entrepreneurial landscape today and at that point, I mean, how do you compare the two, or what do you see is the difference that is taking place now?
Firstly, there are so many career options available.
Right.
I think there was no internet when I started. I mean, there were no mobiles, no internet, so one couldn't run a huge business and be able to control it. Now, of course, there's so much technology, and it's improving by the hour, I should say.
Yeah.
Now with AI and with all these things coming in, the unthinkable is kind of happening now.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the career also, there are various careers which one didn't think of earlier.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, of course, there are so many careers available, and women are also taking the opportunity.
Yes.
If you are good at cooking, there's so many women who are, cooking and setting up a good business, food business,
Hmm.
design. You can design anything. Now, people's aspirations have gone also through the roof. So
Right.
there is a market for a lot of things which was not there earlier. The
Hmm.
economy wasn't liberalized. People didn't have much money.
Yeah.
Now people have much more money. They travel much more. So there is a lot of whole society has changed. It's
True.
very aspirational now.
Yeah.
So the careers are also, the choices are there.
Right. Right. You're right, because so many choices, mindsets are changing, the information
Yeah.
awareness, there is a lot of difference. So, yes, there are a lot many options available now.
Yeah, like I heard that there are women who come and help you tie a sari. Now
Yeah,
help has become we would never have thought of calling someone to help us tie a sari.
true, true.
And I believe it's much in demand.
Yes,
I've heard, they come and they know 100 different drapes. So this kind of careers were unthinkable.
right, right.
And that there will be a huge demand for it is even more unthinkable.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You
true.
know? So this is just an example I'm giving.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the world has changed, definitely.
Yes.
So, Auntie, I want to ask you something that, of course, a woman starting a business and a man starting a business, and they bring different qualities, different attributes to it. Their styles are different. Everything is very
Yes.
different, because they're two different personalities,
Uh,
like so to say. So, what qualities do you think women bring to entrepreneurship that still go undervalued in the business world?
I would say empathy. Empathy is definitely one of the top qualities a woman brings in.
Okay.
Like even now in my office, when I hear that somebody's just had a baby, a
Hmm.
young child, I'm always worried, "Hey, who's looking after the child?" I always ask them, with whom do you leave your child? How do you manage? these working hours. While to a man, it will never occur to kind of so much because I, being a woman, I know the challenges she'll face when she goes back home. She still has to manage the kitchen. She still has to. So I think empathy is a quality which a woman brings in. More empathy. I'm not saying men are not don't have empathy. They do, but definitely a woman understands and empathizes with a woman more.
That is true. That is true.
That, yeah, and I guess a softer approach.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know,
Because
so
ultimately, I think it's,
these two qualities are on top.
yes, because it's a mix of everything. You need to be
Mix
hard,
of, yeah,
you need to be soft. So this softness,
yeah,
empathy is what women bring.
yeah.
All right. So then, of course, you started the business, you built it, it became a great brand, and then you decided to write a book. So, my question is, what made you feel it was time to document your journey in a book? And what was the most emotionally difficult part to write in that book?
Well, the reason, Sangeeta, I wrote the book was
Hmm.
earlier I used to think, a lot of people used to tell me, why don't you write? Why don't you write? You've had an interesting journey. And I felt I'm being very presumptuous for me to think that somebody will want to read my book.
Hmm.
But it was my grandchildren. They were very small and they used to come every day and ask me, Dadi, tell us how you started Biba.
Okay.
One was 6 and one was 10.
Hmm.
And every day they wanted to hear the same story.
Hmm.
The story got over, but they would come every day. No, tell us again, never mind. So I felt it may be an interesting story to talk about,
Hmm.
and maybe I should document because the whole story will go away with me when I'm not there anymore. So
Right.
at least there will be a documented history of Viva for
Right.
people who are joining Biba to read. So
Hmm.
that was my main motivation
Okay. Okay.
to document the whole history, the challenges, the thought behind
Hmm.
how I wanted to start, why I started. So
Okay.
I'm glad I did.
So, was
I'm very,
it, what was the difficult part while writing? Emotionally, was it
well,
difficult?
I actually thoroughly enjoyed writing and
Okay.
because it kind of my childhood, so many memories came flooding back.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
difficult part was uh, when both my sons they did get along with each other
Hmm.
and they decided to part ways.
Hmm.
That was a little painful for me
Right.
because we were a small family and I felt somehow, but their personalities are so different that I could see that they can just never get along.
Right. Right.
So it had to be done. And fortunately, it happened earlier. It happened very cordially.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that was, I'm very glad that it happened when it did.
Hmm. Like they say, everything happens for a reason, and it's good when certain things happen. We may not realize at that time, but it's all
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
So, Auntie, if there is one message you want every young woman to take away from your story, what would that be?
Don't have self doubts.
Hmm.
Please go all out, go for the kill,
Hmm.
try anything you want to. If
Hmm.
you don't succeed, you can try something else, but don't ever underestimate your capability.
Right.
We will only know when we try the depth of what we can achieve. So,
Yes.
this is my message to all the women, all the young, and I said all the old,
Hmm.
that don't think you're too old or you are done with it. Well, there's always a time to try something new.
Right.
This is my
Wonderful, wonderful, very inspirational. So, Auntie, though we've come to the end of the conversation, we do have the rapid fire round, which is five quick questions,
mistake.
five quick answers. So, are you
Uh,
all set for it?
yeah,
All right.
uh,
So, the
shoot,
first one word to describe your 30s.
30s.
Yes.
Fun, It was fun,
Okay.
self-indulgent.
All right. Okay. All right. The next one. A moment when you felt, yes, I have made it.
I think there were a lot of moments because the growth was very gradual. So at every point when you reach the next level, I felt I've made it. And then when the brand got really well known, I felt, wow, now everyone in India knows Biba. So
Yes.
that was a very heady feeling.
Okay. All right. The next question. Biba in 3 words.
Biba is elegance,
Okay.
timeless, yet trendy.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. The next one. One garment you think every Indian woman should own.
I think one white kurta, one black kurta
Okay.
in their wardrobe.
Yes.
Just plain white kurta, plain black kurta, it can do wonders. You can play around a lot with it.
True. 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 And the last one. One myth about women entrepreneurs you want to break.
Is there a myth? I think the myth would be that women can't do it. But these days, I think women are proving to be so good that I think the myth must have got over by now.
All right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
You know?
So, Auntie, what can I say? I mean, first of all, thank you for being on the show. This is like
Thank you, Sangeeta.
an incredible conversation, very inspirational and very enlightening also, because, we also think about things, women, what they can do, what can they not do, full of doubts sometimes. But then hearing someone who has, built a brand in that sense, starting from scratch, talk about her journey and, things about confidence, self-doubt, I think all these are so inspirational and much needed. And I just hope that there is some woman out there who, this conversation just ignites a spark in her and she's able to make those choices, able to do things that she should be doing. So thank you so much for being on the show. It's been
Yes, that's what I also wish, that somebody gets inspired and that goes all out. And thank you, Sangeeta. It was a wonderful conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the About Her show. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more from where that came from. Our previous guests have shared some amazing stories, so be sure to catch up on past episodes. To keep up with our inspiring conversations and to never miss an update, hit subscribe, rate, review, and share the love. Follow us on social media for some great content, and don't forget to check out our website www.aboutherbysangeeta.com for stories that resonate, inspire, and empower. Know a remarkable woman or an inspiring man blazing a trail? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at web.abouther@gmail.com and let's bring their story to life on the About Her show.